Yo, what up? Welcome back. Brand new anime streaming showcase. It's the weekend. It's still the summer. It's hot. It's awful outside. So I suggest you stay inside. Enjoy the Summer of Anime streaming showcase, wherein I take various shows streaming all over the interwebs on various sites and say, watch it, or don't watch it, or do whatever the fuck you want. You're an adult. You have money, and you can spend it however you like. So let's just hop into this week's episode. We're going to look at an older series, relatively, called Rideback from Funimation and Studio Madhouse. So let's just hop right into it. Rin Ogata was a budding star in ballet, poised to be one of the most auspicious dancers the world had ever seen. Her talents and abilities were unmatchable, but when an audition turns tragic, her dreams and ambitions completely changed, as did her future. Now, as a college student, Rin is attending classes and making a new life for herself, but she soon finds herself in a state of affairs that require her to become a heroine. Rin discovers a motorcycle android hybrid called a Rideback that's unlike anything anyone else has ever seen and impassions her natural abilities and makes her a perfect fit for the machine. And what perfect timing too, as the GGP, or the Global Government Plan, the Japanese government, and the BMA, the Borderless Military Alliance, are now embroiled in a three-way political revolution that Rin's new toy is pulled into. Rideback is an interesting show for a couple of reasons. Interesting in that its premise is of a former ballerina that's thrust in a political three-way. Interesting in that it's often described as a social science fiction, which is a first as far as I know. And finally, interesting in that despite its mostly absurd premise, it works. Trying to pitch Rideback must have been a wild attempt, I'd like to think, and here's what I believe the pitch was like. The mangaka, Tetsuro Katsuhara. So we have this ballerina, yeah, and she's marvelous. The best you've ever seen. But oh no, she tears a ligament and she must cut her dream short. Now this is the editor. Oh no! So the series is about her recovering and coming back to dance and ballet again? The mangaka. Ha! How cute. No, Rin soon discovers a mech, which is an android motorcycle hybrid that will thrust her into a war involving the Japanese government. The editor. Yeah, it's amazing, right? I'll get to work immediately. No. I know. But despite that rather wacky premise, Rideback works really well. Although, like many others before have said about it, it could have been even more impactful if it had a longer run. Regardless of the time allotted, everything here in the current presentation of Rideback creates a charming, mostly grounded representation of a political thriller set in the near future. It's also very plausible, save for the idea of a giant mech motorcycle hybrid thing running around saving the world. But Rin is offered up as a believable creation, and even if her premise isn't exactly viable, her motives feel genuine. She's a lead we really root for, not because she's the lead, but because she's full of convictions and drives that we can either agree or disagree with. She's far from perfect, far from flawless, but nonetheless, her previous tragedy is always there in our minds to showcase her conviction. Unfortunately, a bulk of the rest of the cast ultimately feels less like characters or people and more like roadblocks or present plot points. Additionally, Rideback is often exposition heavy, which is possibly there to prevent the show from going more than 12 episodes, but it can be frustrating in a development situation. Exposition is fine, in small doses, but it needn't be an aired excuse to explain something or to further a plot. A character simply dumping info an episode is just lazy writing. Regardless of the credence, there is little forgiveness to hear someone prattle on about another character, a plot point, or a situation, whatever. It's just bad writing, pure and simple, and end of story. Period. It's hardly a death sentence, though, for a show to me, as I will endure it, but you can believe that eyes are rolling furiously whenever it may happen. Look, I get that a lot of anime are often adapting other mediums that convey their worlds differently from anime. Books will paint a picture with their words via smiles, metaphors, allegories, et al. It just seemed like there's a lot of anime would rather vomit character descriptions or backstories in such a hackneyed way rather than in a more pleasing visual example the medium is better suited for. Apologies for the mini rant, but exposition is a writing tool that can be done well, but in most mass media instances, it's often not. It's used very poorly. Thankfully, Rin is the main focus, and when she's not being exposited on by the remainder of the cast, she's fighting a fight she finds worth fighting. She's never presented as a super strong super soldier, and she suffers loss and defeat, but then she uses those losses to fight again. Rideback ultimately ends up as a B-movie foundation with a gorgeous production handled by Studio Madhouse. They handled the reins of Rideback to help create mangaka Tetsuro Kasaharu's world. A balance of 2D and CGI, Rideback was created in that still early ages of blending the two styles, but Madhouse are proverbial masters of their craft. Camera cuts and whipping movements accentuate subtle and not so subtle moments that stand out. Director Atsushi Takahashi, whose pedigree is still growing when attached to Rideback, has had an eye for capturing memorable moments, and Rideback reinforces it. Rideback is just about as silly as it sounds on paper, but if you consider it a really excellent B movie that's simply not good guys versus bad guys, you'll enjoy a kind of forgotten series. Rideback was another one of those shows where I watched week to week when it aired, and then I immediately actually pre-ordered as soon as Funimation announced availability. Speaking of Funimation, they are the sole provider of the streaming access for Rideback and offer it via their site, dubbed or subbed, along with their YouTube page offering the complete subbed version. Forgetting the annoyances around the writing of Rideback, there is a solid release here and a good thing to spend a weekend with. Rin is a terrific character that stands out amongst a mostly obnoxious cast involved in a story with heart. Although, if the premise does sound questionable to you, I'd recommend taking Rideback for a test drive before signing any contracts. So there we have it, a brand new episode of My Ass out there on the interwebs for you to watch and enjoy, and I really do think Rideback is worth your time. It's a short series, so it's not going to take up too much of that precious, precious summertime that you all love and enjoy, and I'm hiding away from the sun because it's hot. But if you do like it, feel free to check out other stuff, check out other videos that I've done in the past. We're about halfway through the summer now, so I'm going to still keep doing this. Again, I missed last week. Personal reasons, I apologize for that. So to help make up for last week and missing, I am planning in this next week to try and do a double episode on Saturday and Sunday to make up for lost time. I do really not like making episodes, but sometimes shit happens and it takes me away from my camera and all of this fun stuff. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you guys again. I hope you guys enjoy watching this stuff. I've gotten a lot of great feedback, and I will continue to put this stuff on the Laser Time Podcast Network because those guys are cool, and they allow me to put my ass on their website, and I can't thank them enough. So anyway, I will see you around next time. Enjoy my ass, enjoy the summer of ass, and we'll see you around. Later, nerds.